Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I have a really cute card for you. I'm excited to show it to you. There isn't anything super fancy on it, but sometimes just adding some little tips and tricks to it can take your card up a notch. It does have some coloring, so if you are still trying to figure out how to blend with your blends, I am going to do that. I'm going to use the stamp set Fable Friends. And it's a little bit of a sleeper set for a couple of reasons. One, it doesn't have any dies. It's not part of a suite. And the other reason I think that sometimes sets like this get lost, I'll show it to you in the catalog. It's in the Occasions catalog, and it's on page 30. My lights are glaring. There we go. Because in a second, when I turn the camera down, I need my lights facing down. But when we get this catalog, I know most of you would have got it like around Christmas, which now seems forever ago. And when you get this, Easter seems way far away. Look at this cute samples they have in the catalog with it. That little basket, that little squirrel card. So it has, unless you were needing some baby cards, because it does have a darling baby, a happy spring, Easter greetings. The font's really cute in it. But when you get this and it's still Christmas, you're thinking, yeah, I don't need that. And then it's kind of hidden back here in the back. And, you know, celebration kicks in and we're looking at all the celebration stuff. And so you just kind of forget about it. But it's what page did I say? 30? No, I forgot what page I said. It's really inexpensive. It's a $22 set. Font's cute. You'll find lots of reasons to use it. So take a second look at it. Here's a card that one of my friends did at our shoebox swap. And if he doesn't look like Beatrix Potter, I don't know what does. Super cute. I have not used him yet because I'm hoping to put him on. Another thing that's not been noticed in the catalog are the little, oh, well, I have one here because I haven't done it yet, but the little treat cups. These remind me of when we used to go to the drive-in and you would get your ice cream in the little treat cups. So I'm hoping to put some bunnies on this. You can see where I'm going with that for a little Easter basket. And then this one I'm getting ready to do today on my Facebook Live. So this, you know, I'll post out of order because I'm filming this. But super cute little squirrel guy. And I hadn't done one of these for a long time where you put the card on top of a card. So that's that. But I'm going to do a baby card with it today. So let me aim the camera down for you. And make sure you're in view. Okay, so I'm going to use, look at these spring colors. Isn't that fun? And then the other thing I'm going to use, because stuff's selling out right now, but I think that these dies, which, you know, at Valentine's, I was all about the Be Mine stitched framelits. I think they're on excess. So I think we still have lots of those around. So you can use these, and if you got them at Valentine's, then here's another way that you can use them. So I'm going to use the Mama Duck. I think she's a duck. Maybe she's a goose because, you know, Mama Goose. I don't know if she's a duck or a goose, but the mom and all her little babies. And this would be a good baby card, I think, for somebody who's not a first-time mom. You know, if she's already got some babies at home, especially if it happens to be a third child, just because the tiny little baby duck at the end doesn't have a cap on. So it looks like he's kind of the star of our show. So there's a mama. It's a red rubber set. So if you'd feel better lining these up, you could put them in your Stamparatus. Oh, and you know what? I stamped that not right because I want to put my stitched framelit dies at the bottom. So let's do it this way. I needed to do this higher up. That's what I get for stamping and talking at the same time. I know it's what happens like when we're at camp or when we're at someplace where you're stamping and you're chit-chatting away. But I'm going to put my stitched framelit die down there, and if I stamp her down at the bottom, she's going to lose her little feet. But they line up pretty well, and you know, it's not like they have to be right together. So I've got that, and then the only other thing I'm going to stamp out of the set are these words that say darling baby. So just put these on a scrap piece. You can see I used that before with my frog dies. And then just to give that a second to dry, I'm going to go ahead and run everything through the Big Shot. So first, I'm going to use Pool Party and then the gingham paper. So this is just going to be on here, and the reason I'm doing it like this, you can fold your paper over and run it through the Settles folder. And I'm on, you know, sometimes I get addictions, and y'all know if you watch me very often, I'm addicted to the tulle ribbon, and don't you worry, it'll be making an appearance on this card. But I'm also addicted to the Settles folder because I think that when you put paper through it, it makes your cardstock and your designer series paper just look a little bit more expensive. It looks like you've paid for some linen paper and a little bit nicer paper maybe than what our cardstock just looks like, because it just looks like a textured cardstock. Because textured cardstock obviously has one more step to it, that's why it's more expensive. So if you get this die, then you can just, if you have it, you might as well use it, right? And obviously, if you're going to make this card, then you have the Big Shot die. You could do all of this without a Big Shot because the set doesn't require one. So first I'm going to see if I can put this on here and not use washi tape. So we'll see how we go. You can hear the static in my sweaters already grabbing. Yeah, see, we got some serious static going on in this house. So I was hoping maybe. I did manage when I made my first one, my prototype, to just stand there and hold it. Oh, you know, when you try to find the end of washi tape. So as much as anything, any reason for spring, one of the things I'm most looking forward to is not having all this static in my house. And I have on my Stampin' Up! Sweater, which you may, if you are a demonstrator, you may have recognized the sweater. You can see I've got the logo down there on my arm, right here. And I love this sweater, but the static in it and my hair are not friends. So I have to put enough hairspray on the bottom of my hair that I can wear it so it doesn't fly up. So I haven't worn it as much as I would like this winter but it rained yesterday. It's kind of rainy today, so I was hoping that perhaps, actually my hair is not as staticky today as it has been in the past. So this is the part that I most love, and that was what I pulled out first. I just wanted that little scallopy bit. It looks very baby to me. It looks really cute with this set. It looks cute with the gingham. But once I had it out, then I thought, well, I might as well use it to cut out my saying. To have the little sentiment, just have some shape on the front of the card. Because again, if you have the dies, you might as well get as much use out of them as you can. And just because they were in a Valentine set, I know a lot of people keep their dies in the set that they come with. I don't like to do that because then I forget to use them with other things. So I keep all of my dies out where I can see them. Sometimes then, you know, it can be a nightmare when you go back to be like, where do these dies go? So here, this is the part where I was talking about. If you want to try, you can try to fold this and run it through, or you can just make a false front, which is what I did. Because sometimes it's hard to fold that over and get it on there, so I just made a false front. It's easier. And this is also, you know, sometimes when people have baby cards, there's some cards in our life, and when talking again, so it's a little crooked, but it's okay. There are some cards in our life that people save, and I think baby cards are one of them. So if it's a card that people may save forever, this nail holds this paper better. If I feel like it might be saved in a scrapbook or saved in a baby book forever, then I'm willing to put a little bit more effort into it. This is cut just a fraction big. So when that happens, just flip your paper over and take your snips and trim, because that does happen. There you go. So here's our front of our card. And the nice thing is even though I mounted that a little crooked, when it's a false front, you don't notice it as much because it's the same color. Okay, let me grab a piece of scrap paper. I can color my blends. Okay, first I'll color my sentiment. And you could leave it white if you want, but I'm going to put it up here on this white background, so I want to be able to see it. So I'm just going to take my brush tip real quick. And I want it to start out light up here, which, you know, when I'm doing it upside down, would have been better for me to do it right side up. Kind of like that. I'm going to take my dark Pool Party. Invariably, somebody will not watch this video and they'll ask me where I got the paper, because they will think that it's cardstock that has two-tone. But you, because you're watching, you will know that we just made it. So anytime you might not have a color of cardstock that you want to match your cardstock and you have the blend, if you're out, then you can just make it. So there's our little sentiment. Now we just need to color these in. And I'm going to turn these back around so I can see. So first I'm going to start with their coats. And all their little raincoats are going to be daffodil. So I'm going to start with the dark. And I'm just going to highlight around the edges. And the Mama Goose, I think she is a Mama Goose, because, you know, she's going to have more dark than the others, and her hat is also going to be yellow or daffodil, which is a nice color for spring. So she has more of the dark than the little guys. And then I'm going to blend it. I'm using the small tips. You don't really want to use the giant tips on here because they're not very big areas to color with. And the blends can bleed. And you don't want them to bleed through onto the outside. So when you swirl it around, it will get rid of your dots. Now, I will tell you that because I stamped on the other side when I messed up, you're going to be able to see through for a second. And so if you were doing this at home, you might be disheartened and think, oh no, you can see on the other side. And you can. But just a little trick. Speaking from experience, when it dries, it goes away. So don't worry about it. So just get their little coats. So for some reason, you can just see through to the other side while it's wet. And then as soon as the blends on the paper are dry, like it goes back where you can't see it. Because a couple of times in the past, I thought, well, I'll go ahead and do the mock-up. You can kind of see right here. See where she is on the other side. You can see it, but as it dries, it'll go away. So I've gone ahead and done a mock-up, and then I thought, well, wait a second, now it's gone. And then I've been able to use my card. So I've learned that from my mistakes. So just add a little bit more shading to those. This card doesn't take very long to color, but it gives really, really pretty results, and the colors are really fun. Okay, so there's their little raincoats. And then the little guys have rain hats on, or bonnets on. She has a rain hat. Theirs are more like little bonnets, except for the little guy. That's why I think it would be super cute if you have somebody who's having a third baby. So I'm going to start with the dark Pool Party on their little bonnets. Just give a little edge of the dark. If you are coming to camp, I have camps, I live in Indianapolis, but if you're coming to camp, this will be a April camp card. And if you don't know anybody having a baby, then you can swap out the Darling Baby for the Happy Spring sentiment that comes in this set. So there we have our two little guys with their little bonnets. Just to get a tad bit more shading, go back with just a little bit just hit it with a little bit of dark on there. Because when you're working with the tiny little bits of area, you have to go in sometimes and add some shading. Now I've got, I think this is pumpkin pie. Yep, light and dark pumpkin pie for their beaks and their feet. And again, I'm going to hit it first with the dark. And I gave Mama a bit more dark than I gave the little guys. I just kind of gave them just a tiny hit so they would have a little bit of shading. And these you really don't want to color too much because their feet are so terribly tiny, as are their beaks, that if you color for too long, it will bleed, because if you put too much ink on here, it has to go somewhere. That's why a lot of times if you watch my other video where I do the little squirrel in the set, you really can't use the blends on him. He's just too tiny, and there's no place. As soon as you color and the ink goes anywhere, it's already bled because there's no place left for it to go. These are just big enough that you can use the blends, which is nice because they're fun to shade. So give her a little bit more shading. Especially so the inside of her mouth is a different color than the... And then one last touch. I wanted their bodies to have a little bit of pop to it. So take your light smoky slate, make sure it's your light. And I did use the brush tip for this because I just wanted to be able to barely touch it. So everywhere where there's kind of like shading on here, just hit that with your, just the brush tip. And then kind of just around the edges, because you do want to have a little bit of color on them. Oops, I didn't color that poor guy's feet. And then take the bullet tip of your color lifter and spread that smoky slate around. And when you do that, it gives great shading to her guys. They're still white. They're most definitely white. But it shades them nicely, so they're not just cardstock white, because you wanted them to have a little bit of look like they've been colored, because you don't want the rest of their body to be colored. What color does his feet need to be? He just has little white feet. Okay, so there's the coloring. Doesn't take long at all. And if you want, you can go back after you're done and kind of hit it again. So now to mount it all together. And okay, I will tell you, the raincoat part, to make their jacket shiny, I did do that at this stage. And then I mounted it all together, but it needs dry time. So for the purposes of video, I am going to mount this. And the reason I did it is because I'm going to use our fine tip glue pen to make their coats be shiny. And so obviously once I have the ribbon on here, there's a chance that it could get stuck in the glue. So if you're doing this card at home, do their coats now, let them get good and dry, and then mount your card all together and put the ribbon on. But so you can see it done, I'm gonna do it this way. So here's my tulle ribbon, because you knew I had to. So it just looks like spring, right? And I may not have cut enough. No, that's not enough. So we'll do it again. See, you just need lots of this stuff. I placed an order today, and you know what was on it, because every order I place, I get a spool of this. That's better. Okay, so I've doubled it over. Here's how I'm tying this one. I tie them all a little differently. So I doubled it over. You want it towards the top. Tie a knot right here. pull it kind of tight because this ribbon has some stretch to it. And then you can kind of separate this on the sides to make it a little wider over here. Okay, so leave that knot there. And then this is our Calypso Coral ombre ribbon, and it's beautiful. It comes in a, I know it's at least in Granny Apple. You get a piece of that. And then slip it through where your knot is. I'm trying to go kind of fast because I'm recording this before I have my Facebook Live scheduled. And I'm about ready for my Facebook Live. But you know, when you go to, if you've not ever done a live, sometimes Facebook is funky and you think you're all ready and then it doesn't set. So I like to be ready, and then even if you just have to sit there for a few minutes and wait for it. Plus I'll have to clean all this up. So I'm trying to get this done so I can move on to that. So there I've got that bow. And then take these two ends, which of course I have 2 strips of ribbon. And then over the top of this, you're going to tie another bow. And then this one's going to be big. So you can see why my other one wasn't going to be big enough. It was not going to have any room for this. So if you if you cut too short, don't make your whole card and have a gypsy little ribbon. Just save that ribbon for something else. Like now I could take that other ribbon that I had and flip it back on here and put one more loop of bows, which would be prettier and make this card super pretty, as opposed to having a bow that doesn't look festive. Because this ribbon is not expensive. So here's another bit in here, because this one I went a little long. So I can take it here. We'll make this one be super festive. So I'm going to take this one. And this is what I tend to do for my wedding cards. So now I've taken the other one that I cut. So now you're going to get a super fluffy bow. So if you have little offcuts where it was not just cut long enough, just use it. Because you'd rather have one beautiful card than one that looked like, oh, well, that was just not quite enough. And then sit there and your card not be what you wanted it to be, right? So just keep, as you keep doing it, just keep pulling the bits out that you want. Now I'll tie this one into maybe a bow. And I just mess with these till I kind of get them where I want them to be, which I should really be stopping so I can get my Facebook Live in. If you don't follow me on Facebook, it's Sherry's Cards, and I do a live once a week. I've been trying to get a good date where I can do them the same day every week, but it doesn't always work. Because on camp weeks, I try to have them done. I would like to do all my lives on Fridays, but on the weeks that I have camp, I'm just not that organized. So now every place that it's too long, just trim those off. And then just fluff them all out. And that little bit of ombre under there just gives a little bit of color. Look how cute that is. And the nice thing about the tool is if you're going to mail this, it'll go in the envelope and then it fluffs right back up when they take it out. Because it's that kind of ribbon. So then just take your little darling baby and just stick it here. Then, this is why I would do this step before. You're going to take your fine tip glue and you're just going to squish it on here. And we used to have Crystal Effects a long time ago, and this is the same stuff. When it dries, it's not sticky. So just put this on here. You just want to kind of drag your tip through it so you don't get air bubbles. And just put it on her little coat. So she has a little shiny rain jacket. I am not going to put it on her hat. I did on my other card, and I'll show you in a second, but I don't want the ribbon to get stuck in it. I might do it once I'm off camera and make something so the ribbon doesn't go up in it. So when you go on the website, you'll see the finished product. And then I'm going to put that lid back on because those, I have to take my glasses off. So there you can see it shiny. And here's my finished one. Let me lay that down. You also want to make sure as it dries that it's flat. But you can see it gives some, it makes it look like they literally have on plastic raincoats. So here's this one again. It doesn't take long for it to dry. You wouldn't want to put it in an envelope or lay anything on top of it. But at camp, if they do this card towards the beginning, then halfway through, like again, I won't want them to put it in their bag and stack everything on top of it. So probably a couple of hours and it's all the way dry. But it's a super, super cute effect. It gets you another use out of your fine tip glue, which is an excellent glue anyways, but I kind of like this bow. But here's the regular bow if you don't add the extra ribbon on top. So I hope you enjoy that. I hope you take a second look at a $20 little stamp set and all the super cute things you can do with it. Have a great day. Bye.